afternoon and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Parks Associates. We're going to be talking about the next 10 million security customers. So thank you so much for joining today. I'm going to start off and share a little bit more about the big picture and what we're looking at Parks across the board within some of the research work that we're doing. So when we look at the growth in the connected home markets, we're seeing smart home product adoption continue to grow. We're seeing home security solutions continue to be valued by consumers, by small business, by multifamily markets. We're seeing a really big lean into networking services and Wi-Fi and the role of all connected devices in the home. And of course, the big word AI, we're seeing that everywhere. AI being integrated into hardware, into software, into the applications, into the experience. And as we look ahead to 2028, we are seeing what we'll say as a convergence, a continued convergence across markets within energy, within health, within the app experience and the AI assistance, along with voice and natural language models. Also the role of insurance and all the risks that can get mitigated because of different security and safety solutions. So today we're going to focus in on who are the next 10 million customers for the security market. Who are these buyers? How do they differ now and in the future from the past customers? What's the trigger that makes these people buy security solutions? How do we provide an integrated security experience instead of just a point solution and fragmented experience for the customer? What are the pricing models that are winning, and what is the channel distribution? So those are the things we're going to talk about that I'll be sharing from our research over the next hour or so. I'm Elizabeth Parks. I'm the president and CMO of Parks Associates, and so thank you so much for joining us today. If you're interested in following us on LinkedIn, please go and follow me and get some access to our research as well as the Parks Associates LinkedIn page. I certainly hope you're familiar with who we are and what we do at Parks, but to give you an idea of our coverage, we are publishing over 100 studies each year across the different vertical markets that we focus in on. We're looking at AI, we're looking at home security, we're looking at the smart home, we're looking at connected health, we look at pay TV, streaming services, consumer electronics, we look at the SMB market, multifamily, we're moving into the commercial security market. So if you are in need of research, that is our primary business. And throughout today's webinar and always we'll be sharing our proprietary research data. We have a number of white papers that we have introduced into the market over the past 3 or 6 months, and would encourage you to go to our website and download and read some of these. I'm also going to share a little bit of research today from our just published study. This is a great research study that is a hybrid study that is going to be touching on our industry view of the smart video product market as well as our consumer data. So these are some of the things that we're looking at in understanding smart video products. And when we talk about smart video products at Parks Associates, we are focused in on networked cameras, video doorbells, and then you've got the floodlight with camera, which is a new category that's getting lumped in there. So this is what that study looks like. If you're interested, we'd love to have you make a purchase and really get a full view of the market. But today I'm going to share a little bit of that data and give you a highlight. A lot of the research in the study is coming off of our consumer survey work that we do quarterly, and we fielded in the summertime. And so here's a view of those sample sizes. I'm also going to share a little bit more about our research from our smart home and security tracker. And this is monthly and quarterly insights that we deliver throughout the year to our clients, including forecasts of the smart home device market, understanding the security solutions market, which does include systems and devices and all those monitoring services, and what's happening in the market. In addition, the clients of ours who purchase that research also get access throughout the year to something new we're introducing in 2026, which is our Analyst Insight Sessions. And so we're so pleased to be able to share with you all first that this is part of our offering moving forward in 2026 to have 30-minute Analyst Insight Sessions across some of these key vertical markets that we're reporting on. We think it's important to tell you all what's happening along the way. And so this is an effort to provide that to our clients. And again, some of the information I'll be sharing today is similar to what you might see in these insight sessions in 2026. So let me focus in though on what we're really talking about today, which is where's the next revenue and the customer coming for the security solutions market. And when we're thinking about product attached services and whole home services and ecosystem services, the big word there is services. These services are across products, across the whole connected home ecosystem, and then in these vertical markets. And that is going to be a real theme, particularly when we think about convergence and the future of these markets. So let me jump in here and share with you a little bit about where we are in the security solutions and services market. So currently, 48% of all households in the United States own some sort of security solution, and 35% of households are subscribing to some kind of paid security service. And you can see here from this chart showing 2022 and 2025 where that growth is coming from. And it is coming from the video device, security device market, right? That dark blue box where you can see that growth coming in with a device, but not a system, right? So it's important when thinking about these that we're thinking about systems with attached devices or standalone devices and no systems. And so that's what that's sharing there. And then what are the attached services, either to the system or to the device? Let me show you a different way to think about it. In the entire US, there are approximately 122 million US internet households. And so if you think about 1%, that would equal 1.2 million households. So when you think about that 48% of security solutions, that equals 58 million households in the United States who have either a security system or a security device. And when we think about that next 10 million households, that would be equal to 8% growth across the market. So hopefully that helps you get a different perspective there in thinking about the entire US and what some of these numbers mean. So let me touch on where things are with home security system acquisitions in the past 5 years. So this is a great chart going back to Q4 2024 and really showing that decline of security systems acquisitions. A lot of this has to do with the housing market, but there's a bigger message just about how security systems providers have to work to provide more value to maintain their growth. And right now, most providers most security systems providers are growing by adding more revenue, not necessarily by adding more subscribers. And that will also be a theme in thinking about where these next customers are coming from. But the why behind the purchase is the smart home, right? The number one reason why people are buying security systems is because they want the smart home devices. So this very strong smart home device market continues to push the security systems market, along with other reasons why people buy security systems, which have to do with starting a family or having incidences in their home that create that desire to get security and safety solutions at home. And when we are thinking about the smart home device market, we're also showing that 48% of households have a smart home device. And when you're wondering what all devices are we looking at Parks Associates when we're tracking the smart home, here is a list of most all of them. I think there might be one or two missing from this particular view, but this is the majority of the smart home device market. Notably, there are not smart speakers on this list. Notably, there are not smart televisions on this list or any types of entertainment devices. This really does represent the smart home, which is controls, security, and the other devices listed here. The smart home market does play this really critical role in home security. And again, that number one reason to buy a security system is for the home automation. And you can see in this really interesting chart about what consumers do when they're buying a security system and what they acquire, which devices they acquire upon purchase, and what they're adding later. And so you can see here cameras and motion sensors, door window sensors, video doorbells at the top of the list, but that long tail of devices ending there with smart thermostats. And I think there actually are additional devices on this list as well. So smart home continues to play just a very, very important role for security systems providers, which is why we think you all need to understand the smart home market so closely. It operates differently than security systems market, but there's a lot of opportunity and blurring of lines there, and that's something we've been talking about really for years at Parks Associates. So when we're thinking about the smart home devices all across the home, there is this strong desire to have a centralized point of control. And that really is where everybody wants to be that main player, right? That main position of control for all of the different devices. And when we ask consumers, you know, who would be your preferred company or the hub to help with the centralized control, you can see that security systems panel right there is on the list. We also see smart speakers being a central point, a standalone hub, the smart television, quite notable as well. And then you've got the router. And I think that's very notable, particularly as we think about where customers are coming from in the future and the potential of the broadband players really having an impact on the market. So let's keep going and talk about this role of the primary control platform. So, you know, the main thing that people want is to have that centralized platform to control all these different devices. And there is an enormously large group of people, 78%, who said that they would switch platform providers if the provider could control everything in one place, if they can support a broader range of devices, if they can offer better data security and privacy, right? There's not a lot of loyalty right now around that platform. There's a lot of opportunity to be that platform provider of choice. And if you can bring it all together for the consumer in the name of that experience, you know, you potentially could win over that customer. I want to give an example that's in the market right now in terms of enhancing the data protections. We saw Wise this year introduce a new security feature to its cameras. And of course, this really was a result of some past security challenges where they actually had an incident. And so they went in and added more protections there. This is of critical importance, right? This is about trust. This is about building the relationship. And these people who buy these types of devices, particularly networked cameras or anything with a camera on it, they have concerns about data privacy and security. 56% of them say they're concerned about it, right? So it's got to be one of those top differentiators when you're thinking about selling to that customer. They really do care. And all of this ends up meaning that the monitoring market is at a crossroads, and with incredible opportunity. Everybody is fighting to be that main point of control and to not only just provide safety and security, but also be that lifestyle provider and to bring it all together, that whole home experience for the consumer. At these different large companies, we've seen all sorts of changes happen in the last 3, 6, 9, 12, 18-month period of time. We've got new round of leadership at ADT. We've got Xfinity reworking some of its offerings. We've got Simply Safe just being sold to another private equity company, and a change of leadership there. We've got Brinks Home with a new path to success and focusing on that dealer market. We've got Ring, who was sold for $1 billion, bringing their founder back this year. That's a real signal, that they're trying to make things happen, and maybe they need him back in play. We've got Arlo with new partnerships and incorporating new types of AI solutions. We've got Roku, who's in the game and really bringing the television into the forefront. And of course, major player Vivint, who has been purchased a few years back for $3 billion by NRG. All of this is incredible competition that has been showing up and forcing these different types of security providers to change. The tech giants are in play big time. They deliver more than just one kind of core functionality. These different devices and this diverse ecosystem enables value-added services that can help drive engagement, that can drive revenue, and also help with customer loyalty. So these major players, Amazon, Apple, Google, Samsung, they are incredibly good at using this type of strategy of building out an ecosystem, bringing it all together, and then connecting it to powerful service platforms. And so this is where it starts to get really interesting, particularly if you think about the traditional security providers, right? Because the tech giants are offering so much more. It's not just about professional security. It's not just about peace of mind at your house. It's also about your health. It's also about your payments. It's also about your car and that safety, excuse me. It's also about streaming entertainment and the television, the largest screen in the house, right? There is so much to compete with. And as these players continue to develop their different ecosystems of devices and services, we see AI, more AI, and even more getting infused into that experience, providing layers and layers and layers of value. And this is what some of the traditional players end up competing with today. This competition and growth from the smart home players is forcing security companies to really reevaluate what their offerings are, what the hardware means, and what the experience is in the end, particularly when we think about all the different applications that are enabled. And I think this is an excellent perspective to understand the volume of major active brands in the US market, and particularly on the camera side, right? And it is a signal about the commoditization of hardware. And so there's going to be a push of how do we make hardware so much more, and all that push ends up coming from the software side and the AI side. It's also important to understand, where do people buy these products from, right? And security dealers become an incredibly important channel for video products, for smart locks, for smoke and CO2 detectors. These devices that make up the core security, safety, and peace of mind value propositions of a full security system. So all of these are very important to understand. How does a consumer end up buying the smart home products, right? To understand, if I'm selling a security system or just a security device with attached services, what is the current customer, how are they obtaining these products? What are their views of it, right? So there's a lot here in this chart, and hopefully you all appreciate this research data from our team. Let me keep going here, and I want to go ahead and make sure I say, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and I'll see if I can take them along the way or at the end. But let me continue on and talk about AI and monitoring, because we certainly see security leaders making a lot of noise with the AI that they are infusing into all of their operations and the experience for the consumer. So like the smart home market, we're also tracking these traditional security providers and smart home device providers, and understanding how they're shifting their offerings to basically provide this volume of choice and meet the customer where they're at. And the reason why AI becomes so important is because it will help drive future revenue. It enables companies to really super serve their customers by providing all sorts of new and interactive systems because of the devices that are attached there. And so when you look at these different categories of owners, so you've got security systems owners, you've got smart home device owners, and then you've got everybody in the United States, there is a willingness to pay for AI assistance. Consumers understand what this means, particularly when we explain it to them, which we do in our survey work. And security systems owners and smart home device owners are more sophisticated understanding of the value of AI. And so your existing customer base are the ones that are going to be willing to pay for these different benefits that come along with connected devices. And here's an example of some of the different applications that we ended up testing among security systems owners. And so you can see here that the vast majority find these different benefits of high value. And very interesting here with thinking about voice controls, the ability to identify people, which is a big deal, and we're seeing that emerge with a lot of different AI companies who have presence intelligence and presence detection. So companies like Ubiety, Cognitive, Avani, Origin, right? They're very innovative solutions that help understand more context of what's going on in the home. So there's a lot here that security systems owners understand and are thinking about what potentially could come next. So let's talk about why consumers tell us that they choose self-monitoring over pro-monitoring services, right? And this is in understanding that there's this gap of revenue that's not getting collected because people are maybe doing self-monitoring that ends up being unpaid, right? So why do they prefer self-monitoring? Well, they think self-monitoring services are enough. It gives them enough peace of mind, and it's less expensive than pro monitoring services. So relatively simple. You can see some of the other responses here on that chart as well. And when we ask security systems owners, why do they want to cancel their pro monitored service, they tell us it's because the service is too expensive, or they don't have a need, or they feel safe, and you can see the rest of the answers here. Ultimately, security systems providers are going to have to continuously prove their value. It's got to be about the outcomes and not just a feature. And it has to be an emphasis on the context and the value, the continuous value of understanding what's going on in that environment, and also, bringing some cost-effective solutions to market. When we ask consumers about what would help them stop their cancellation, right? What's an incentive that you could get from your provider that would prevent you from canceling, right? All of the answers are about more value, right? They want more features, they want more flexibility, they want more discounts, they want some new piece of hardware, they want an add-on device, right? Consumers want more value for what they're paying for, and that's something that you're really going to have to be thinking about as you look for your next set of customers. Frankly, they just expect more, right? And one of the reasons why they expect more is because there are all these different types of features that can get built in to the system side and to the device side. So nearly 80% of consumers value package theft alerts, and 3/4 are prioritizing advanced video analytics and things like vehicle detection. This is really underscoring this demand for smarter, context-aware security. And you can see with this number of valuable features, 7 or more features. 71% of households find 7 or more features valuable. And this really does speak to the opportunity to provide tiered premium featured bundles, right? So the future and your next customer could be because you're offering a different type of bundle on a tiered service offering, also creating that recurring revenue opportunity. I want to mention another company in the market, Eufy, who is morphing from a smart device, offering a smart device into a system. And if you haven't been on their website, this is a good one to check out because they're doing some really interesting things with showing the customer, you know, how to bundle different products together and the ease of understanding that price point right in front. And also leaning into the AI solution. So I think this is a really good market example to consider and take a look at if you haven't already. Okay, let's keep going, and we're gonna jump into talking a little bit about this next generation of services. And when we ask security systems owners, what's the likelihood of adopting new services in the market, you can see what these services are that are of most interest. And so that fire and gas safety monitoring is at the very top. And this is something we're seeing really emerge across the board, right? And there's a big tie into insurance. And so I think that's going to continue to be at the top. We also are seeing vehicle monitoring, personal emergency response, that video verification, water sensors, cybersecurity, right? And at the very bottom, you can see pet monitoring. This is one where we're actually focused quite a bit in on this particular segment of people who own pets and would have a willingness to pay for a monitoring service as an add-on to an existing security system service. When we ask non-security owners their interest in different services or features, you can see a lot of similarities there, right, around fire and gas, also vehicle monitoring. You've got the dash cam, which we think is really interesting. I think our data shows maybe only 12% of the market have a dash cam, which means there's a lot of room for growth. The smart tag tracking, and also, again, pet monitoring and pool monitoring as being really interesting as well. So the future of monitoring will all be built around AI. It's going to cross different areas than it has. And then there will be a big convergence and ability to understand what's going on through a single platform and dashboard experience, along with tiered offerings, right? So that's where we see a lot of the future coming. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the convergence we see in the market, because this would be really what I would call Parks Associates' sweet spot in understanding how markets grow and where that opportunity lies for one ecosystem to converge with another, create a better experience, and help expand offerings that also can align well with a core business. And so I want to touch upon the energy market to start, and I'm going to start off with highlighting the sponsors of Parks Associates Smart Energy Summit, which we host annually. These are our 2025 sponsors, and you can see they represent a variety of different companies, including Skybell, LG Nova, Schneider, some standards here, but the NRG as well is interesting because we've got Vivint, and security is something that we're talking a lot about when we are at our Smart Energy Summit as an offering to the market with security plus energy. I showed this earlier, the devices that get attached to the system, either that are acquired with the system or that are added later. And I wanted to focus in on the very far device, the smart thermostat, and that attached rate. And emphasize this big indicator here with Vivint and NRG, right? This acquisition is so meaningful for the market, right? And there's a lot of money tied up behind it. And then there is so much grand thinking over how these two markets can come together and create a unified experience that is premium for customers, right? And Vivint is really good at offering a very premium experience, and NRG and Reliant are in Texas and have this amazing opportunity to serve the customers in Texas with different demand response, leveraging devices in the home, and really creating a holistic experience. And so again, if you're not paying attention to this one, this is one to watch and that we watch closely. The reason why this is so important to think about for a security systems provider is that these smart thermostat owners are interested in information from the thermostat that can help them save money, that help them understand what's going on in their environment, that has automation, right, that has tools that they're willing to pay for, that will help them best understand how their spending on energy in the house is going, or to create a more energy efficient home. We also know that customers appreciate being able to identify when somebody comes to a home, right? And I already mentioned the presence detection and this incredible importance of being able to provide more context for what's going on. And this has a lot of different implications if you think about police response times and the police force, emergency responders, and needing to understand if they really need to do a dispatch or not, right? We also know that there's big monitoring opportunities just on the home network, and that becomes really important when you think about the ISPs and the broadband service providers, which I'm going to touch on here in a few minutes. So the other thing I really want to emphasize as it relates to energy here is that the number one thing that consumers find most valuable as a tool about energy consumption is to monitor the wiring of the home for faulty alerts or fires, which again is safety and security, right? So the number one thing they want to do with energy is around safety and security. So this really all makes a lot of sense. And if you haven't heard of the company Ting, that would be a really good one to look into, because they have a device that can understand if there is faulty wiring, and they have stopped so many homes from being on fire because they can understand the faulty wiring before a fire starts. So very powerful. And actually, I think they're one of their guys is speaking at Connection Summit at CES on our energy session. So but again, there's just so much here when we think about the tools that consumers want around and they'd be willing to pay for around energy management. Also, what is very important to understand about this market with energy is that utilities aren't really good marketers, right? There's a big gap between the utility or the energy provider and the consumer. And as much as these utility providers have tried to close that gap and push more thermostats into the market, we've been sitting flat with the smart thermostat market. It's around 16 to 18% for the past 5 years. You know, the utilities really need somebody, a company, a device, a brand, a consumer brand in between to bridge that gap between the customers. And we talk to the utility market a lot, and we say, you need to look for partners, right, on the consumer brand device side. So this is a really interesting chart because it looks at people who do not have smart home devices. It looks at people with smart home devices, and then you look at the individual device owners, people who have smart panels, people who have smart thermostats or electric panels, the solar or electric panels, and understanding their interest in these different tools. So there still is a very big opportunity. The utilities need a lot of help, and the security companies can be that help for the utility if you can figure out how to work with them, which can be challenging, highly regulated. market and a lot of different regional rules that go along with that. Okay, let me touch on a few spotlight markets that I think are important when you're thinking about your next 10 million security customers. And a really, really big one is these 55 and up in the caregiver market. And I'd like to go ahead and recognize Parks Associates Connected Health Summit sponsors for their innovation and leadership and role in helping grow this market. And actually, we are hosting some sessions next week that are complimentary as part of our Connected Health Summit and Smart Energy Summit. If you'd like to join us, we will be talking a lot about seniors and caregivers, and for the moment now, as it relates to who's the next security buyer, there's a real shift in tech usage by some of the older demographics and what the meaning of these devices hold. And I have a question mark behind the seniors, because it's not just seniors who are using these different technologies. It's 30 somethings, it's 40 somethings, it's 50 somethings, you know, people who have different wearable devices and ability to understand what's going on with somebody they love because of different devices that might be in their home. And this is a huge, huge, huge market to serve. We're counting 30 million households out of 122 that are currently caregivers, or they will be caregivers in the next 5 years. We are also tracking the assisted technology market at around 16 million households now, which is up about 2 million households from 2022. That would be a little bit less than 2% growth if you were thinking about all households. And when we're thinking about what are we talking about with assisted care technologies, it's the things in these boxes, in the blue box that we're talking about. And we know that AI is being infused everywhere, and that is helping to really create new and different offerings that are of high value and that can come at some lower prices at this point because there's some maturity in the market. We also know that these devices can be used together and coordinated and provide incredible value that can also have a fee attached to it on a monthly basis. And so we did test some tech amenities and combinations along with different price points for packages that could be offered. And we are tracking the annual market opportunity to be around $5 billion to serve the ages 55 to 75 with these types of devices. So there's an incredible market here, and a lot of this, you know, people are going out and buying these devices for themselves or for their loved ones. These are out-of-pocket expenses, and you know, people are looking for ways to have that kind of peace of mind around their loved ones. Okay, here's a quick spotlight on multifamily, and of course, I want to highlight who our sponsors are for our Smart Spaces event. This is another big conference. Parks Associates hosts 6 executive conferences a year, and so this one is hosted in September in Dallas. We'll be back in Dallas next year, and an incredible number of companies who supported our research and this particular event. And a lot of these companies are focused in on access control and security and monitoring solutions. Generally speaking, people who rent apartments feel less safe than single family home renters or condo owners. And they tell us they have more concerns about safety and security. And when we're talking to these consumers about their willingness to recommend certain properties and what it means to have certain types of security on the property or not, we can absolutely definitively say that having a security solution will dramatically help your NPS scores. And you can see this here with the dark blue bar and the lighter blue with the security measure and without it, and those big negative scores with nothing, right? And then also, if you were to add a couple of these security measures together, does that give you a higher NPS? And it certainly does. And at our Smart Energy Summit, we were happy to feature some innovation award winners for what they're doing within certain properties. And so I want to provide you just a few examples here to understand how these companies are working. We've got Resorts World in Las Vegas, where was using Dormicaba and Allianz, some of their solutions. This is helping with check-in, amenities, and providing guest access, right? And you can see how this adding technology into the experience is helping operationally with fewer guests needing to be checked in. We've got another example here with LiftMaster and the residences where LiftMaster added in video intercoms and smart locks and cloud-based access control solutions. And this has helped create more ease of entry for the property as well as guests, right? So trying to really make that experience better. We see another example and winner here with Peachtree Residential, also featuring Zentro and Calix, two of their providers. This is a little bit more about connectivity across the board in the multifamily environment, which if you have access control, security, different types of connected devices, it's very important to have that foundation of connectivity, and that helps with the overall experience and onboarding process. We also see another example with Regis Square in Della, and this is more of an integration on automation side and onboarding and maintenance, also understanding occupancy and access to the amenities. You know, all of these things help the owner or operator of the property operate more efficiently and also provide the residents with access to the property more efficiently. Finally, we see Aberley Market Point and ADT Multifamily, who are also highlighted as one of our award winners. And this really was very specific around ADT Multifamily smart home technology, including the thermostats and some of the smart panels with door locks, which is creating energy savings and better maintenance times. It's notable that ADT Multifamily was just acquired by Everon. And so that's very interesting to see. And then also there was just an announcement that Alarm.com and Everon now have a partnership, right? So there's a lot going on in that world of Everon and serving the multifamily space, another big indicator of the opportunity there. Okay, I want to share a little bit more here about the broadband providers, right? And where the next security customers coming from? Well, they might be, that channel might be through the ISPs. And so let me give you a little bit of background here on what's going on with internet service providers. So here is a view of internet access methods among US households. And so you can see a decline of fixed wireless. You've got the increase in fiber and a continued increase here around the wireless home internet, right? So there's a lot of competition in broadband right now, and it's not about speed anymore. And that's probably a really big, huge point to remember, is that speeds are now commoditized in this area. We've showed 22% of households in the US, and this is about a year ago, having reporting speeds of a gigabit or higher. And you don't really need a gigabit of speed for the most part in your house, right? So speed is there, and the traditional bundle is in decline, right? And the traditional bundle from Parks's view would be these two home services from the same provider: internet, pay TV, home phone, mobile, or home security. So you can see there's a decline here, and this is going back 2014 to 2025. So ISPs and broadband world is a sweet spot for Parks Associates in our research tracking, and so it's nice to have this 11-year view. When we're asking consumers about what would influence them to switch providers, to switch internet providers, it really is a lot about the bundle, and it's also a lot about Wi-Fi, right? And so consumers say they'd be willing to switch providers if they could get a bundle of other services. And we see a dramatic increase in mobile and internet services. Now I think it's 24 or 25% of households are getting those two services together. But over here, you can also see these advanced Wi-Fi features, whole home cyber, parental controls. Consumers want and expect more, and they are bundling these value-added services more and more and more. And here's this nice chart showing a 3-year view with 67%, testing out these services with their internet. Ultimately, ISPs need a different relationship with their subscribers that's beyond speed, and home security is one path to that relationship. And it's a good path because it provides peace of mind, and people are greatly satisfied with their home security solutions generally, especially if things become uncertain in certain times of just the way the world is working. So we see the ISPs who offer home security services have incredibly high NPSs because of that bundle. And ultimately, ISPs will absolutely be moving towards bringing back and offering different bundles that include value-added services. And I think they're all working to figure out how to keep and retain their connectivity customers, but add more value, add more services, create more opportunity for revenue, right? And ultimately, that is a stickier customer and a happier customer. As you can see, consumers who have 6 or more value-added services have the highest NPS scores back to their service provider. Okay, so I want to wrap up here with just a few things in emphasizing where are these customers coming from. And I've gone through a lot of different types of data, but I want to zero in on the security systems buyers now and how they're buying, right? Where are people buying from and how are they making that purchase? And so you can see here, I've got a 2022 through 2025 view. And so the gray bar on the right is going to be that 2025 perspective. So we've got the majority of security systems buyers going to a national security system provider or an online retailer. And secondly, from a local home security company, but you can see there's a dramatic dip there going down on the local companies. They're probably going to need some more help. On purchase method, it's all about being online, right? So if you aren't thinking about your website and your customer base and how they're moving around your site, you definitely need to focus in on that. I want to share this, one of my final research slides. Jennifer Kent on our team worked on this, really trying to figure out what are the unique characteristics of the different segments of security. You've got system owners, you've got video device owners with no system, you've got pro monitoring, self-monitoring, and how do these different segments, what do they look like when you think about the demographics? And of course, we have all the details here, but this is a really nice sum it up chart to emphasize that the high income homeowners are the ones who have a system and pro monitoring. You've got suburban renters and minorities who have pro monitoring, but more on the device side versus a system. And then when we look at the paid self-monitoring with a system versus devices, you can see we've got urban remote workers with families on the system paid self-monitoring, and then this middle class white homeowner who would be doing a video device and paid self-monitoring. So I hope these pieces of data are helping you all think about who is your customer, who are you serving, or who do you want to serve, right? Because there's certain demographics that are going to lean into certain security solutions. So I hope this was really useful. I've got just a couple more things I want to make sure you all are aware of for Parks Associates in 2026, where we are celebrating our 40th year in business. So it's an exciting year for us, and we are going to kick it off at our Connections Summit at CES, also our 20th year to host this event. And we'd love to invite you to come to our reception, which is sponsored by JCI, by Johnson Controls. And so here's that QR code if you'd like to join us. And we're also very happy to highlight and spotlight our sponsors of that event, where security is definitely a spotlight in the conversation, along with the rest of the connected home. Our team's going to be on site at CES. And so if anybody is interested in meeting with us, we definitely want to meet with you. And if you are not at CES, we certainly hope that you are going to come to our 30th annual Connections Conference in May. We are very, very excited to take this event back to California, back to our roots, back to where the tech companies really are in Silicon Valley. And we are very thankful and excited for the 2025 sponsors who supported us this year, many who are great leaders in the connected home and security space, and also looking forward to our 2026 sponsors, which we are collecting more of. So if anybody is interested in visibility to the most premier group of connected home executives, we can help fulfill that for you. And if you'd like more information, you're welcome to reach out to myself, of course, or anybody on our team here, Nick Gretkin. We've got Jason Paris. Mindy Sue is also in charge of speaking. If there's interest in speaking, we have call for papers for all of our events on the website. So we hope to see you, and we will be happily celebrating our 40 years in business. We would love to work with you if we are not already. So please consider supporting our business and helping us with you to grow your own business. So if there's any interest in working with Parks Associates, please feel free to reach out to our team. You will get a copy of these slides in your inbox in the next 24 hours. So I hope this was useful information, and wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Happy holidays, and thank you so much for joining us today.